To unpack this topic, joins me from Los Angeles, Fernando Carvajal, former member of UN panel of experts in Yemen. Thank you so much, Fernando, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so as we're witnessing the Red Sea attacks made the Houthis have the world's attention, which included a specific mention in President Biden's latest State of the Union address. All of this would have been unimaginable 20 years ago when Houthi leaders were holed up in caves in the mountains of northern Yemen. What's your take on this?
Definitely, we see the impact of the flow of military assistance, expertise from Iran to the Houthis since the war started back in September 2014. There is definitely a big difference in the way that the Houthis have evolved their capabilities, their tactic, their strategy, their tactics, both in the war, the civil war in Yemen, and as a member of the Axis of Resistance with Iran, Hezbollah. And so we've seen the evolution of their drone and missile capabilities. We've seen the evolution of the assistance from Iran in helping the Houthis target these ships that gives the Houthis the intelligence leverage that they need, that would not otherwise have in order to target specific ships in the Red Sea, the Arabian Sea, and the Gulf of Aden. This would not be possible for the Houthis without the Iranian expert assistance and military components provided by the Islamic Guard, the Republican Guard.
Okay, if we may now move to the U.S. airstrikes that have been targeting Yemen, to what extent can those strikes really degrade the Houthis' military capabilities?
Definitely, we have two components of these operations, Prosperity Guardian by the U.S., European navies, and Gulf allies. This operation is based in Bahrain. So one is that the U.S. has made it abundantly clear that this is a defensive operation, right? The navies in the Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, Arabian Sea are there to help defend the ships flowing through Bab al-Mandab. The second component is the actual targeting of Houthi missiles or drones, whether it's in flight or on land preparing to launch. This has had a mixed result because of long-time observers. We know that Houthis used a lot of decoys during the war with fake missiles, etc., to sort of throw off the enemy. We can say that possibly a lot of this has happened over the last 3 months, but definitely as of today, they are reporting, observers online are reporting, social media are reporting that it's been 12 days since Houthis in Sana'a have reported or claimed an attack on a ship. So this definitely gives us a hint that the operation has worked in certain aspects. Whether we don't know yet if it has truly degraded the Houthi capabilities on the ground, but it has definitely created an environment that has led to the longest pause between strikes for the Houthis. We know that the U.S. is also encouraging regional actors to engage the Houthis in order to stop this, in order to move into a peace track with the UN envoy that announced the plan on December 23rd, and the Houthis has just kicked the can down the road, claiming they will not engage peace talks until the war in Gaza is over. But these 12 days of a pause definitely gives us a little bit of insight into the impact of the operation and the diplomatic track that's being engaged simultaneously.
Yeah. Fernando, a final point. What are the peace prospects in Yemen amid these ongoing developments?
Your clip with the UN envoy speaking this last week says it all. There's not much optimism at the moment, merely because we know the way that Houthis use the narrative. We know the way that Houthis negotiate. They've been kicking the can down the road since mid-September when they should have engaged talks with Saudi Arabia. Then when the war started in Gaza, again, they used that to their advantage in order to delay talks in December, after the UN envoy called for the peace, presented his peace plan, the Houthis said, we're not going to talk about this until next year, until the war in Gaza is over. There's not much optimism. We already see that the Political Leadership Council is willing to sit at the table. We see that Saudi Arabia is very interested in picking up the talks with the Houthis that have been paused again since September. So the other side is willing to engage peace talks. It's the Houthis who are unwilling to engage peace. We see escalation in Adalah, Lahaj, Taiz, possibly Marib. So the Houthis need to get back the way they see the war. They need to get the leverage back on their side, and we can possibly expect them to escalate further along a couple of fronts soon.
Okay, unfortunately, we have to leave it at this point. Fernando, thank you so much for your time today and for your great insights.